What is up guys, it's Agent Juicy and this is a review for the BlackBerry Classic. This device reminds you of the good times that you had with your old BlackBerry device. If you're planning on getting this device, prepare for a jolt of nostalgia. It re-energizes the hidden power user within you. This device is primarily targeted for device users who still are on the old BlackBerry OS 6, 7, and 5 to help them migrate to BlackBerry 10, which is about 50 million plus users. If you think this is an ultra high spec device, you are wrong, and you should be looking at the BlackBerry Passport for devices of that caliber if you're looking to stay within the BlackBerry ecosystem or check out other devices. Call quality on this device was quite clear, loud, and I experienced no drop calls. Users on the other end had no problems hearing me, there was no statics or drop calls or anything of that sort. LTE and Wi-Fi download speeds were quite impressive and on par with what's on the market right now. The build quality on this device gives you the perfect nostalgic dosage of what BlackBerry is known for. The Classic's design took a few pages from the BlackBerry Bold lineup from a couple years back. It has a classic tool belt which keeps your productivity at a high for texting, working with emails, and working with PDFs. This device feels a bit heavy in the hand, but in a significant kind of way. It feels kind of solid and manly. I like that feeling a lot. One thing to note is that the device is top heavy, so when laying in bed and texting, it feels a bit odd in the hand and feels like it's gonna fall and hit you on your beautiful face. The Classic design is borderline premium due to its catchy designer-esque look. It also has a stainless steel metal frame with stainless steel accents in the camera lens and a beautiful logo. The back door of the device is a hardened rubbered polycarbonate feel with crisscross patterns. I have mixed feelings about it. At times I like it and sometimes I just don't like the back door. The BlackBerry Classic has a small form factor and a small footprint in the hand. That being said, all of the buttons are quickly accessible and very reachable. One thing to note about the BlackBerry button placement is I found like the volume buttons, even though you press it, it takes like 2 to 3 times after I press it for the volume to actually take an action. That's quite odd, and I'm not sure if it's just my device or if it's software related, but I do hope it fixes itself eventually. BlackBerry brought back the Trackpad for the ultimate throwback. That thing we all fell in love with and what probably frustrated us most on the older devices. I found myself rarely ever touching the touchscreen because of its convenience of the trackpad. This being said, you will have all the gestures that you're known for and the swipes that you adore with BlackBerry 10 still on board. The optical trackpad is sensitive and accurate when scrolling. Sometimes it's perfect for scrolling web pages, but terrible for certain apps. The trackpad tool belt combo still does what you're used to in the old OS. It helps you do a couple shortcuts such as delete multiple emails, texts, editing is faster, and the most welcome dedicated feature is the call end button. I love this feature because when someone makes you furiously angry, you could press the heck out of the button. Plus it makes going to the home screen and exiting apps a hell of a lot faster. Additionally, using the trackpad also doubles as a shutter release button, which is quite useful. The display is a bit small for my liking. It's 3.5 inches in size, but if you're coming from the old BlackBerry OS from 2 to 4 years ago, it's going to be a dramatic step up for you. It's a 720p high-def display at 249 pixels. For those who are wondering, it's a 720 by 720p resolution. It's a bright display, it's well balanced, not oversaturated, not undersaturated. The text, web pages, pictures, videos looks good enough to get by. The screen and software uses a 1:1 ratio when playing video, which creates black bars around your video for a trailer-like experience. Personally, I use high-end phones a lot. The display is good enough to get by. The pixels are visible when viewed at the right angle, or in the hub or in a certain background, particularly white and blues. The screen also has Gorilla Glass protection. Turning to battery life, the Classic uses a 2500 mAh battery, which gave me between 13 to 16 hours of usage, depending on my day. Usually my days are about 12 hours long. Here's a breakdown. 3 emails account being synced, 4 social media, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all being synced, as well as a couple cloud storage as well. Additionally, I made about 10 to 15 minutes of calls, 1 hour of gaming, 30 minutes of web browsing, and I watched 10 to 20 minutes of Netflix. So the battery life is solid enough to get you through the day. One thing that I did notice was the software that tells you how much more time you have on the battery life, or how long battery life is going to last you. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't show up. It's a bit flaky at times, which will be fixed with a couple software updates. Let's talk about the Classic's hardware. The hardware on the Classic is a bit old. It has 2 GB of RAM, which is good, but the processor is a dual core clocked at 1.5 GHz from 2 to 3 years ago. If I'm gonna stop you right here, this device has the same exact internals as the BlackBerry Q10. It has a SD card slot, which is good for expansion up to 128 GB. For my daily usage, it's good enough to get you by, but if you're looking for a workhorse or a lot of horsepower for GPU testing or gaming, and anything of that sort, this device falls short in that aspect. For the people coming from the older BlackBerry phones, this will blow your socks off. If you're coming from a quad-core powered phone, you will notice the lack of. I wish they did a better job in terms of hardware and processor choosing. The Classic runs the newest version of BlackBerry 10, 10.3.1. Think about BlackBerry 10 as being a better version of Android, a secure version that is. BlackBerry has quite a few things that I like about the OS. I like that the BlackBerry Hub is a quick swipe away to reveal all of your emails, text message, social media, and upcoming events in your calendar. Think about it as a unified inbox. Using the trackpad to navigate the OS is relatively smooth, has zero glitches, and quite accurate, which I like. BlackBerry also has something called BlackBerry Blend, which owners of the device can tether their phone to their tablet, PC, phone, or Mac computer. Users can reply to messages or any notifications as a matter of fact. I really hope BlackBerry furthers development in this region by making third-party apps such as WhatsApp, Instagram, and Twitter accessible using this software. Answering and making calls as well would be awesome. This connection could be made wirelessly over the mobile network or with a wired connection. It's really your choice, which I love. Additionally, the new OS supports Android 4.3 runtime. However, like I said before, certain apps are not available, such as Google services or any app that relies upon it, especially Hangouts. Software-wise, I think about BlackBerry 10 as being a better version of Android without the Google services. BlackBerry App Gap is sort of like a bump in the road now. All of the apps works with the exception of Google Maps, Google Keep, Google Hangouts, and all of those apps require Google ID to play those games. I highly recommend you use a Snap Store, which I did a video on, to supplement all of your app needs and desires, since an app gap still exists even though you have Amazon App Store and BlackBerry World, which probably doesn't cover all of your needs. Installing Android apps is still, like I said a couple months ago, jumping through hoops. It's quite tedious, downloading, installing, then getting a chance to play the game that you want. It takes quite a long while, and I blame the processor, and maybe a little bit of the software needs to be optimized to make this process a lot faster. The keyboard is pretty comfortable and nice to type on. I welcome the extra real estate and the larger key sizes. It's what BlackBerry DNA is all about. This device delivers exactly that experience. It's a bit clicky with the tactile feeling when typing. Additionally, users can set up quick launch settings on the keyboard, which increases your productivity even further. Once set up, your favorite apps is just a long press away from those sexy keys, and it allows users to quickly launch those apps, something a touchscreen can't do. The Classic's camera is an 8 megapixel at the back and a 2 megapixel at the front of the device, which gives the users the option to shoot at 720p at 60 frames per second or 1080p at 30 frames per second. You will take some good videos with this device, but it's nothing to brag about. That being said, the camera quality is good, but in low light pictures it does look grainy and not very good for me. Focusing is fast and quite easy, but in low light you will hunt for focus. Picture quality isn't perfect, but it's good enough. In my samples you will notice that the colors are vibrant and the blacks are extra black, which is a good thing. It's a bit oversaturated, but I'm not complaining about it because it's such a low megapixel. Every little bit of detail or extra color is going to make this camera do a lot better job. These are a couple of things that I didn't really like about the BlackBerry Classic. The trackpad is small, but after a week I adapted to it. Installing apps are tedious and takes quite some time to install and update. Google services is not supported, so my favorite apps such as Google Keep, Google Hangout, Google Plus, and YouTube are just simply not supported by this device. The hardware on the phone should have been a little bit more powerful. The camera game could have been a lot better, especially for the back. The LCD screen could have had a little bit more resolution or a better PPI. I've seen some beautiful 720p displays out there on a 5-inch screen, but this is just not one of those devices. The back door of the device should have been removable so that I could access the battery or a SIM card or SD card slot a lot easier. The software incorporates everything that the competition has, but it does have some dark zones. The software isn't the problem, it's the processing power on this device. I wish it had more of it. If you're coming from the BlackBerry devices such as the old Bold 9900, the Torch, or some older devices such as the Curve, it's going to be a major game changer and a step up for you. If you're coming from a powerful Android or iOS device, you will notice and wish it had a lot more power and maybe a little more screen size. For me, paying $580 for a repackaged Q10 with a trackpad is just a little bit tough to swallow. But since BlackBerry is targeting this for the older users, this is going to be perfect for those guys. Even though the specs are really low, I enjoyed using this device. For the first time using BlackBerry 10, I felt a lot more productive. It made me a lot more productive during my day. This device delivers that classic nostalgic experience you were expecting, with a bit of a boost to its power users. The only reason to get this phone is if you need a trackpad. This has been my review. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.